Hello everyone, welcome once again to Prof. Dan Tutorials. In today's video, we are going to learn from the journey of a recent successful I-140 petition approval. Yay. So I will walk you through the entire process from addressing contradictory statements by USCIS in a request for evidence to securing approval just 2 days after submitting the response. Now, if you have ever wondered about the importance of submitting the right forms, like for example, the ETA 9089, or peradventure handling unexpected obstacles during your application process, this video is a must watch. Now, I will be sharing key insights, including how to navigate potential errors from USCIS, the power of providing additional evidence, and why it's important as a petitioner to stay proactive in your immigration journey. So stay tuned. Well, if you have been finding Prof. Dan tutorials on YouTube helpful, don't forget to give them, give the channel, give all the videos, give them a thumbs up. Sharing, they say, is caring. So as I'm sharing with you, as I'm giving you valuable information, show some care, So pass the content along to others who might benefit. I would love to hear your thoughts and questions in the comment section. And as you could see from the history, we do try our best to respond to questions that ordinarily you would have to pay for through consultation. And of course, be sure to subscribe so you never miss out on any valuable video. Also, for all updates and more professional contents, make sure to follow on LinkedIn. That's our professional page, St. Daniel's Global LLC. This is a registered company. It's now on LinkedIn. Please make sure you follow us. We're going to be putting there all updates that you need to know in order to help your petition. Your support means everything. The same way Prof. Dan is really supporting you all. Make sure you support us. So let's dive in. First, take a look at what you have on the screen. This is the front page of an RFE that is received by a petitioner. Take note of the dates. I've already blocked out important information for security's sake, but take note of the date, August 8, 2024. Something happened. A request for evidence, was sent out to the self-petitioner. And what happens? Let's look at the timeline. Again, just so you know, look at what you have on the screen. July 31st, 2024, the case was actively being reviewed by USCIS. And shortly after, about 5 days, August 5, 2024, a request for additional evidence was sent. And this, we're going to talk about it. Eventually, August 21, there was approval. Well, let's dive into what I want you to learn from today's video. First, take a pause. Look at the screen. You see an RFE extract. Read through the statement, and we continue from there. All right, so now that you are done, let me explain. Now, if you look at what you just finished reading, it simply indicates that the petitioner has successfully established that their proposed work in the field of, I'm going to mark the field, that field holds substantial merits. That's what the statement says. Essentially, when we say substantial merits, it means that the work of this person is valuable and important in its field. And this conclusion is based on the petitioner's professional plan and statements, which literally outline what they intend to do and why it matters. These are part of the content in your petition. In addition to providing that the work has merits, the statement also confirms that the first prong of the required criteria has been met. Now, this first prong in the context of the national interest waiver usually refers to the requirements that the proposed endeavor of the petitioner is of substantial intrinsic merit and national importance. Now, from these statements, from I think the first page of the RFE, the first or second page of the RFE, this statement literally shows that the petitioner has clearly shown that their work is important and beneficiary, and this fulfills a key requirement in the application. Of course, one would say this is a positive step towards getting approval for the petition, but it's not over yet. Let's look at other parts of the RFE and see some contradictory statements afterwards and see how the response was made and eventually received approval. Take a look at this slide again just to follow up. I want you to take a quick pause again on this video and read the statement that speaks to the third prong in the RFE that the petitioner received. Pause the video, read it through so you can understand. All right, now that you understand, let me explain further what you have on the screen in case you do not understand. Now, this test discusses the third prong of the national interest waiver, which assesses whether it would be beneficial to the United States to waive the usual requirement of a job offer and labor certification for the petitioner. In simple terms, this third prong asks whether allowing the petitioner to bypass the normal job offer process would be in the country's best interest, whether it would be in the country's best interest. Now, when you look closely at this test, the test states that the petitioner is well positioned to advance the work or projects they have proposed. This means that the individual in the petition has probably demonstrated they are capable of achieving the goals they have set out. And for the third prong that also asks whether on balance it would be advantageous for the US to allow the petitioner to skip the usual requirements of having a job offer and a labor certification. That's literally, a process that approves, let me put it this way, a process that proves that no US worker is available for the job. And well, you don't even need to worry about all this because what you want to show in your national interest waiver is that you do not need an employer still even to apply for this. Now, based on all the documents and evidence that the petitioner actually provided in the petition, in essence, it shows that the petitioner work is important enough, and it was also passed. I mean, this part of the petition also passed. So when you look at the first prong, the second, and the third prong, This RFE shows that the petitioner already passed all this. And then one will be confused, like, so if I've already passed all the key elements, all the key parts of the petition, which is usually the first, the second, and the third prong, then why again am I still getting an RFE? And what are other parts of the RFE saying? And that's what I'm going to explain to you today. Now, let's take a look at another slide and see what the part of the request was. When you look at this slide, again, pause the video and read through and play it back, and I'll explain to you. All right. Now, in this part of the application process, the petitioner was required to submit a properly completed labor certification form, specifically the form ETA 9089. That's what the statement says. And this is a critical document for the I-140 petition. So again, don't forget to submit all the needed forms. In our previous video, Check Prof Down tutorials, I made a video on all the needed forms for your petition. If you fail to submit any one, you will still get an RFE. Now, this form also certifies that there are no qualified U.S. workers available for the job, and that hiring the petitioner will not negatively impact the U.S. workers' wages and conditions. Well, those are just literally the meaning of all these labor certification forms. But pointing your attention to something here, the immigration officer stated that the petitioner had submitted Appendix A and final determination. Now take notes, for forms related to ETA 9089, there are 3 subforms that self-petitioners for the EB2 NIW or the EB1A will have to fill. Again, it's on the previous video. I've made videos on how you can even fill all these forms without making mistakes. So take advantage of them. Now, this officer says, but the ETA 9089 form was missing. But guess what? The petitioner did not submit any of these subforms. The petitioner did not submit Appendix A. The petitioner did not submit final determination, But the officer says in the statement that the petitioner submitted Appendix A and the final determination, that only the ETA 9089 was missing. So errors can happen. Officers can make mistakes. So this was an error in the officer's statement. Remember, even the USCIS officers, they are human. So humans are prone to mistake no matter what. So what is important to know is that the petitioner corrected the officer's mistake in the response and submitted all the required documents to ensure the application was complete. The petitioner didn't look at it like, well, since the officer made a mistake and said I've submitted Appendix A and final determination, so let me only submit the ETA 9089 part. He went ahead to submit all the 3 forms. Now, a key takeaway is that it's important that as self-petitioners, you ensure that you submit all the required forms correctly and double-check the document listed in your request for evidence, if there is any. If there is a mistake from the officer's side, be sure to clarify that also in your response, but still make sure you provide all the necessary documents to avoid further delays or even at this stage, denial of your petition. Now, this, as we've seen, is something that emphasizes the importance of you being meticulous and thorough when preparing your immigration documents. Make sure you are aware of all the things needed that can save you time. Like I said earlier, for this petition, the petitioner didn't submit certain forms. So please be aware what are the required forms? What are the things you must avoid to avoid rejection? Some of these things, I've presented them in previous videos. So do yourself good. They are free resources to help you DIY, do it yourself. All right, so now this is the another part that I find really contradictory. You recall some of the things we've said earlier, as it shows that the three-prong has already been successfully passed. But look at what is written on this page. Again, pause the video, read through the content so you understand. Okay, now let me explain. Now, in this particular case, it's now evident there seems to be some contradictory statement made by the USCIS officer regarding the petitioner's application for this national interest waiver. Now, as you can see, in the initial assessment of the prongs, the officer earlier in the review stated that the petitioner met all the three prongs. This includes the first prong of showing substantial merit and national importance, the second prong of being well positioned to advance the endeavor, and the third prong, which assesses whether waiving the job offer requirements is in the national interest. But then, when you read through what you have here on the screen right now, which is really, really messy and disheartening for the receiver, it shows contradiction. In this summary of the RFE response to, of the RFE given to the petitioner, the officer contradicts the earlier statement. Here, it's mentioned that the petitioner only met part of the first prong, only the substantial merits, but did not meet the national importance aspect. That is really contradictory as to what we first learned about this RFE. Now, additionally, this summary claims that the petitioner did not meet the third prong. And again, that is inconsistent with the earlier assessment. So overall, what did the petitioner did? Lesson taken, lesson to be learned from this, the petitioner took proactive steps by contacting the USCIS officer for clarification. Although why they couldn't speak directly with the officer, they communicated with the field representatives to address this contradiction. And the petitioner also strengthened their response by providing additional evidence to further emphasize the national importance of their work. Since it's been mentioned that, well, you didn't fulfill this national important part, even though earlier it stated that you already passed that, the petitioner still make attempts to respond to that again, just to be on the safe side. So the important lesson here is to be careful when you review your RFE and ensure that any inconsistencies or errors are addressed in your response. Try to always provide thorough evidence to support your claims, even if it means reinforcing points that were initially considered met that you've submitted earlier. Now, this ensures that your case is as strong as possible and perhaps minimizes the chances of further complications. Again, just be proactive. There are some kind of RFEs that the officer will tell you, don't repeat things you've submitted earlier. So take note of all that. So when you read your RFE, for people that receive that, you want to pay attention to every statement. Don't overlook. Reach out to consultants, accredited representatives that can be of help to you, to further clearly understand what is required of you. So, after responding to the request for evidence, The good news is that the petitioner case was reviewed and approved within just 2 days of USCIS acknowledging the response. So that is a fantastic news, as it means that the USCIS now found the evidence provided to be sufficient and then approve the petitioner's application. And so that's a good news. I'm wishing you all approved cases. That is what we want to hear. If you have done the right things from the very beginning, perhaps after submission, what you will get expectedly is approval instead of RFE. And if you get RFE, that's not the end. It's an opportunity for you. At least you have about 3 months to settle down and respond very good. Respond, paying attention to everything requested of you. And that is going to be the major point or lesson learned in today's video. Well, as we've seen today, overall, staying proactive, addressing every issue head-on, and submitting thorough evidence can indeed turn an RFE into an approval. My advice, always double-check your forms, sign all the appropriate section, fill in all the appropriate part correctly, check Prof. Dan YouTube videos for all of these. They are available for you for free. Watching those videos will save you money, will save you further efforts of responding to RFE. Well, follow up if need be, and don't be derailed or discouraged by receiving RFE. Again, if this video is helpful, if Prof. Dan YouTube videos have ever been helpful to you, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, we are here to support you every step of the way, in any way possible that we can. So, thanks for watching. Share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you all again in another video. Take care and bye-bye.